An employee from the train yard heard somebody moaning as they were walking along the tracks right here. Police also tell us that criminals target distracted shoppers. All it takes is just a few seconds of turning your back to pop the trunk. No, actually, you're parked in the handicap spot right here. Were you aware of that? After the tree limb snapped, this humongous branch fell and pinned Trace right underneath it. I've just been given the special privilege of naming this little guy. This is not an X-ray machine. It actually uses sound waves to detect everything on your body, from paper to metal, even plastic.
On there for her.
Heck yeah, earthworm on top of your salad, maybe a little feta cheese.
That's right.
I love it. This tragic case is part of a much larger problem. Or some people decided to head down to the petting zoo to meet Perse. One of the side effects of the flu shot is to have aching in the arm. Can I hold your hand?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, it's so soft.
Oh,
and it's shaking.
Thanks.
Don't be nervous.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's so cute. According to the FBI, last year there were more than 460,000 children reported missing to law enforcement across the country. But a brave girl from White Pigeon may have easily become a part of that statistic. Tonight, she's sharing how her quick thinking saved her life and then earned her a prestigious award. A lot can change in 1 year, especially for 11-year-old Mackenzie Stafford of White Pigeon. What do you think about as you walk through your neighborhood now?
That I could feel free and walk around and not be afraid anymore of anything.
Inspiring words from a young girl who last summer escaped an attempted abduction by her former neighbor, 65-year-old Daniel Furlong. She points out the garage where she remembers him coaxing her inside. And how does it make you feel when you walk by?
It just kind of gives me shivers, but it's fine.
She says Furlong asked her to help him organize his tools. That's when he grabbed a knife, covered her mouth with his hand, and tried to tie her up. Mackenzie fought back.
Punching him or like kicking him, and I turned around and did both things, and it worked. But then he got me again, and then the next thing I kicked him in his zone, and then I left. And I left my bike there, so.
And I remembered that you screamed very loud. What were you saying?
I was like, someone please help me. This guy is trying to murder me.
Mackenzie's quick thinking not only saved her life, but landed Furlong in prison. His DNA was linked to the 2007 murder of 11-year-old Jody Perrick in Constantine.
I don't have to be afraid now because he's gone.
According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there are 92 children missing in Michigan right now. That includes Brittany Beers, who went missing in 1997 from Sturgis, and Stephen Kraft, who disappeared from Benton Harbor in 2001. In Michigan last year, state police tell us there were 5 non-family abductions, and so far 4 cases this year. Investigators say the suspects are mostly men, and the motive is almost always sexual.
They can look like anybody that you would see, that you come in contact with in the grocery store.
And police say their method of first contact is often made through technology.
They'll groom them through these website apps, meaning they will gain their trust by talking to them on their level. A child doesn't have a lot of life experience. They're generally trusting of adults, which makes them an easy target.
Becoming an easy target is not an option for these kids. At the Lightning Kick studio in Kalamazoo,
control that mind and body.
They're not only learning self-defense moves, but confidence.
Head up, eyes up, eye contact when they speak to somebody, erect posture, looking around, not being consumed with their electronics.
Martial arts instructor Amir Killa says teaching children situational awareness is key to surviving an abduction.
You're not even thinking at all. It all has to be an autonomic response. You've conditioned your body to react a certain way under a certain stress.
10-year-old Isaiah Bollinger has been training for a year now.
Good job, Isaiah.
He showed us 2 ways to quickly escape from a wrist grab.
Child's going to scoop out like you're scooping the burger and then flip it over fast, step back to the opposite side and pull to your shoulder. Good, and looking to run away again.
Mackenzie says she's proud of her quick reaction.
When I was running, I came this way.
And so is Michigan State Police. They recently gave her a Distinguished Citizen Award and the prestigious Michigan State Police 5th District Challenge coin. Were you surprised?
Yes, and they gave me a cake with my name on it. It's gone now. I ate it.
Down the road, Mackenzie already has plans for what's next.
Be an investigator.
Really?
Yes.
So you want to be a detective?
Yes.
And she's already taking the steps
And I watch CSI and stuff like that.
to make it happen.
So Dr. Jacobs is ready to see you.
The time has come to learn the results of my first mammogram. Just minutes ago, I was introduced to tomosynthesis, otherwise known as 3D mammography. My technician, Tess, positioned me in front of the machine.
Okay, I want you to turn your feet in straight. Good.
And both of my breasts were compressed, top to bottom, and then side to side.
Just keep your head up really high for me. Good, go ahead and relax.
I'll be honest, ladies, it was uncomfortable, but it didn't hurt.
Jessica, you can put your gown on. I'm just going to review these.
As I walk to meet my radiologist, Dr. Christina Jacobs, I think about my own mother, Jan, who back in 1998 was given a grim diagnosis. She had stage 2 breast cancer. I was wondering how she was feeling that day.
Let's have a seat, Jessica. I'm going to show you your mammogram.
The images are astonishing.
Wow. So you can see as it goes through, different things, different structures come into focus depending on what level in the breast we're in.
It's amazing. According to Susan G. Komen, fewer than 5% of breast cancers occur in women under the age of 40. However, breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among women ages 20 to 59. Women who are diagnosed at younger ages may have a gene mutation called BRCA1 or BRCA2. My mother tested negative for that gene, but Dr. Jacobs says I'm still on the border of having a high risk of breast cancer.
And that's a 20% chance that I could be diagnosed in my lifetime?
Right.
Wow.
Average risk is less than 15%.
The news is unsettling.
Earlier you had mentioned that anything white could be cancerous. So how do you determine what's cancerous and what's not?
Could be looking for a mass, so something that forms borders. We look for calcium deposits, which show up as these bright little tiny white punctate spots.
Dr. Jacobs also looks to make sure that no breast tissue is being pulled to a certain point. After a tense 5 minutes of looking over the images, I had to break the silence.
And you're not finding any abnormalities?
Nope, not at all.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah.
Go ahead and relax.
However, even at the age of 31, Dr. Jacobs says because of my family history, I need a mammogram every year. With my own 2 daughters, Lily and Grace, to think about, just a few minutes of discomfort is well worth a lifetime of memories with my family.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Dr. Jacobs.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Dr. Jacobs tells me that 3D mammography will eventually become the standard. The Bronson Center for Women is even expanding to accommodate the new machines.
How you doing, sweet peepers?
I love you, Mama.
I love you too.
14-year-old Abigail Koff lights up a room with her smile, a twinkle in the eye, and a great sense of humor.
What do you remember about Dr. Wiggins?
He has a deep voice, and Dr. Lingwan's really cute.
It's astonishing to see the progress Abby has made since the night of February 20th. Medical Director Dr. Erin Lane Davies and neurosurgeon Dr. Gregory Wiggins remembers getting that phone call in the middle of the night. A teen had been shot in the head.
They were actively, performing chest compressions, giving medicines, trying to revive her.
Abby was in this very scary and uncertain place.
At that point, things looked very, very poor.
Abby's heart had essentially stopped working, and her mother, Vicki, had already made up her mind to donate her daughter's organs.
We were saying our goodbyes at that moment. I put my head on her chest, and I told her I loved her. And I told her that my heart and her heart will always be entwined. And I told her that our heart beats as one. And if she could feel my heart, that her should start. And within that 5 minutes, she started back up.
Abby says she remembers seeing her mother's face.
This is the way I woke up and I grabbed her hand. I'm not leaving yet. I'm not going to give up.
Abby was rushed into the operating room. For 2 hours, Dr. Wiggins tells us he removed bullet fragments from her brain. A majority were lodged in her right frontal lobe.
If you had to pick a place, this is a pretty good place to get shot.
So she got lucky, so to speak.
Very lucky.
A monitor was placed in Abby's skull to balance the swelling in the brain. And it wasn't until 10 days later she started showing signs that she was ready to wake up.
In terms of, wiggling toes and moving fingers.
Vicky tells us when the time came for her to sit up, she had to leave the room.
I was panicking and I kept telling the nurses not to drop her head, and they're like, "We got this, Mom."
Abby's father, Gene, says that during that time he was grateful for the medical team's communication.
Bronson included us every step of the way. We were considered members of the medical team, which was fabulous.
After 17 days in the ICU, Abby was ready to be discharged.
I guess I was a little surprised, but in a pediatric patient, they have amazing capabilities to recover.
Her recovery has been remarkable. She has gotten function and personality back as quickly as I would have hoped for or expected.
As Abby was leaving Bronson, she wrote her mother a note asking, "What happened to me?"
And I said, "Well, sweetheart, you were shot in the head." And she started to cry. And I said, "But you're alive." I said, "So that's all that matters right now."
And today, Abby embodies the joy of being alive like no other.
High five.
High five.
Your hands are warm.
We paused our interview to feed her pet pig Hamlet some peanut butter and to take a selfie with me and her friends. But what she really wanted was to take a moment and tell the team at Bronson how she really feels.
Thank you for saving my life. It means a lot to me.
For 32 years, Jackie Mitchell has wondered why.
Did they feel pain? What were their last words?
She was 12 when she recalls her parents finding her 16-year-old brother Eric Cross brutally murdered. Newly released crime scene photos show his shoes and watch scattered along the roadway near their home.
He was already dead, and they, somehow they already had his body for hours, and they put him in front of our house and ran over him to try to make it look like a hit and run.
For years, Mitchell says she reached out to the people who knew what happened.
My parents personally called the parents of these perpetrators and witnesses and asked for help. They chose not to help them, even though some of them were ministers and supposed pillars of community.
Over the decades, Mitchell's friends helped her keep Cross's case alive. At Wraps and Signs in Portage today, they were printing bumper stickers and posters to be passed out.
It's time to just be honest, say what happened, and deal with the consequences.
We broke the news to them that the prosecutor is reviewing the case, which involves 5 suspects involved either in the cover-up or the crime itself.
We do not want to close it by saying they got away with murder.
Our sources confirm the suspects are Brent Spalding, his father, Brian Spalding Sr., Amber Thomas, his girlfriend at the time, and former friends Bill Cook and Tim Martin.
I don't know exactly what has kept them quiet for so long, but I hope they're getting the message that they can't stay quiet anymore.